Rib day, let's get to it. We got our Lone Star Grills Mini. We got 3 racks of spare ribs. Time to go. All right, y'all, we are not doing a thing fancy here today. We are simply doing 1 rack of just salt and pepper because I've never done that before, a true Texas style rib. And we're gonna do another rack, or the other 2 racks we're gonna do with some White Lightning, SPG, and Heath Riles pecan rub. Now, I'm actually excited about doing the old Texas style just salt and pepper because I have done completely naked ribs before with no seasoning at all. I'll put that video up in the corner. That experiment actually turned out amazing, much better than expected. However, I've never just done plain and simple old salt and pepper ribs, so let's do that. Now, when it comes to ratio of salt and pepper, I don't pre-mix it. I sprinkle on as much pepper as I think I would like, and this is coarse ground. So I go a little light with it because, frankly, I've been using this restaurant coarse grind for several years now, and I think I'm gonna start going away from it. I'm actually getting tired of it. I don't like to feel the pepper when I'm eating my food. Some of these grains are pretty big and they don't chew very nice. So I'm gonna probably get away from the old coarse grind after I run out of this bottle. But it's nothing scientific here. Just sprinkle it on however much pepper you think you would like. And I don't know, it probably does not end up quite being 50-50 with the salt. It probably ends up being about 60% salt to 2/3 salt at the end of the day. But again, I'm not going super heavy with either. When I did those naked ribs with no seasoning, they turned out awesome. And so actually, I don't think it needs a ton of salt and pepper. So we'll see how this goes. All right, now for the next 2 racks, we're doing the same thing for both of them. We'll just start with some White Lightning. Actually, since I'm almost out of this White Lightning, I'm gonna save that for the top side of the ribs. And on these backs, I'm only gonna put Heath Riles. This is simple barbecue. I'm not doing any removal of membranes. I'm not doing any trimming. I'm not even taking these spare ribs down to St. Louis style. I'm literally taking them out of the package, seasoning them up, and throwing them on the smoker because ribs can still be delicious and amazing that way. And I don't really get into all the finicky stuff with barbecue. Also, you'll notice I'm not using a binder. Again, I'm a simple barbecuer, and as I explained in my last video, here I am forgetting to put my SPG on. Let's start with that. As I explained in my last video, binder is unnecessary 90% of the time in barbecue. So I hardly ever use a binder. These ribs were plenty juicy enough to have a ton of ribs stick to them. I'm gonna put a little more salt on this one since I ran out of SPG. But we're just doing old-fashioned, down-home, simple barbecue. No rub today, or I'm sorry, no binder today, no trimming today, no membrane removal today, no wrapping today. I may or may not spritz them to help with some bark. We'll see. I'll decide in a couple hours when it's time to start doing that. But for now, we're literally doing the 5-minute prep on these. My smoker is almost up to temp. I've had it running for about 45 minutes now, and we'll see where she settles in at. I'd be comfortable anywhere between 250 and 300 on these. So let's get them in the smoker. All right, the smoker's almost at 250. So I just now cranked my valves back. You're supposed to do that 50 degrees before your desired set temp. I probably would have done it 25 degrees ago if I had been paying better attention, but again, I don't really care if these run up at 300 degrees. I'm totally fine with hot and fast. I am not running any water in this smoker. I never do. If I ever put water in it on a cook, I'll tell you, because it'll be out of the norm for me. Anyhow, let's get this baby opened up and get some ribs on her. All right, I'll show you real quick. Little bit of I can't remember I think that was oak that I had there. That was just some little pieces I had started up with. Now I'm gonna grab my bigger piece of oak there, and also this piece of choke cherry. All right, so we got these in. I put the nice red colored ones up on top because I think what'll happen is The bottom rack will probably get dripped on a little bit, and that won't bark up quite as nice. But I want these Heath Riles red ones to look nice and pretty. All right, it's been 3 hours. Let's take a little look. All right, I hear sizzling in here. Ooh-wee. Let's let that smoke clear out. Let's look at our Texas ribs first. Looking juicy, of course. The bark isn't great because they've been dripped on. But they are definitely looking basted and juicy. Look at these top bad boys here. Again, not awesome bark. I wonder if part of that's because I haven't got any good wood chunks yet. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to spritz these a little bit. This end here is a little dry, so I am going to spritz the ends, even though the middle doesn't really need it. The bottom rack definitely didn't need it because they were, again, getting dripped on this whole time. But let me pull those out a little bit further, make sure that rack is locked so I don't lose my ribs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dust on a little bit more seasoning. And I have to figure that bark out. That's weird to me how those ribs were in the middle here. I don't understand that. I hope that was something specific to the ribs. And again, maybe I just need to be creating better smoke, better wood, something like that. Yeah, that confuses me. You guys who cook with vertical cabinet smokers, let me know what you think on that. I've never seen that before in my offset or even in my Weber Smoky Mountain. I ran my glove along the ceiling of that cook chamber, and the glove was definitely wet when it came back. So I'm definitely creating lots of humidity. Again, I'm not water cooking with it. I'm cooking totally dry. So the only humidity in there is coming from the little tiny bit of drippings from last cook, and the, admittedly, lots of drippings coming off of these ribs. I've been hearing them, I've been hearing liquid and juice and sizzling from just a few minutes after I first put them in there 3 hours ago. So that's something I want to get figured out, because obviously I want to have good bark. If I throw a brisket in there, I don't want it to be patchy. Let me know what you think on that. All right, folks, these are looking beautiful. Actually, the bark improved quite a bit. These two are especially good bark. This one here was the one that was having trouble earlier, and it mostly dried right up. We still got some pooling right there, and I think it is because I have a divot. And I think it also is just because, you know, those insulated vertical cabinets are just so insulated and tight. There's just going to be more humidity in there. So I'll just have to get used to cooking with those. If some of you have used them and have adapted and still gotten great bark all the time consistently, tell me how you do it. Again, I don't cook with water, so that's not a problem. But these look incredible, and these are the Texas ribs with just salt and pepper. So there's no colored rub on those, but they look awesome, and I can't wait to dig in. These top two are my Heath Riles rubs, and they look beautiful as well. They're both feeling perfect. Actually, the Texas ones that I had in the middle of the smoker are feeling even just a hair more tender, but nonetheless, these are still definitely feeling good and done. You see we got nice pullback. We got some pullback on this top one, but this baby is thick. That's like a brisket. There's a lot of meat on that. That's why I love me some spare ribs. So hey, let's dig in. All right, let's flip these bad boys over here so we can figure out where our rib tips are. Oh man, those just pull right off. Wow. That is some tender, delicious goodness. Man, amazing. All that just pulls right off beautifully. Let me cut a section right from the middle here. Get us a rib. Let me do the same on these Heath Riles ribs over here. Bill Lee, that is tender. Wow. It's also very hot, and I forgot to put my cotton liners on underneath. So, yeah, let me go back and do that quick. All right, cotton liners on. Let's lay our rib tips off to the side over here. Kind of butchered those, but they're just falling apart. Can't even hardly cut it. This is not going to be pretty rib time, I can tell you that. These babies are tender. Got a little bit of a smoke ring, not much there, but I guarantee you these things are still gonna taste awesome. Let's see what it was like on these bad boys. Again, really light smoke ring. I really need to order some good wood chunks, and I just keep forgetting to do that. But let's try these. All right, y'all ready for this? Let's try the Heath Riles rubbed rib first. Man, that's making me excited. Wow, that's still really hot. That is so tasty though. It's such a I'll tell you what, you know that Heath Riles rub is there. This is the pecan rub again. I've also used his honey, his sweet, and his cherry. They've all been awesome. This pecan is really good. It's not overly sweet. You definitely get the saltiness of it. The sugar does not overpower it. There's not so much sugar in it that it was gunking up my smoker or anything like that. I love the balance of Heath Riles rubs, and what I mean by that, especially this pecan one I'm tasting right now. You know it's there, like it's definitely adding sweet, salty goodness, but it's not overpowering. It really complements the pork amazingly well. And yeah, that whole rib fell apart when I bit into it. You want to see a bite mark? That's what the bite mark looked like. All right, let's try one of those Texas ribs. Here we go, y'all. This baby is looking, oh, it looks so good. This one's actually more tender. The reason it's not falling off the bone is because when I cut that first one from the other rack, I really butchered it with the knife and just ripped a whole bunch of meat, loosened it off the bone. This is actually like Jello. It is so tender and delicious, but it's still hanging onto that bone because I did a better job with the knife on this one. Man, that's good. That is my first bite. So my channel's called Texas 2.5, and that's literally the first bites of ribs I've ever had with just the Texas style salt and pepper, because I just love sweet rubs. I always have on pork, and I've just never wanted to throw a rack of ribs in the smoker and only put salt and pepper on it because I just didn't think I would like it. I'm telling you, I have been missing the boat. I'm not gonna give up my sweet rubs, but it is totally worth trying Texas style. S&P only. That is so good. And this particular rack is so juicy. So amazing. Wow. I'm standing out here in my garage freezing, and I don't even care. It's 20 degrees in Minnesota. Week before Thanksgiving. And I'm just gonna stand here and eat ribs because it's like, this is my peaceful, happy place. Wow. So good. Here's some tips from that Texas rack. You can see that nice pepper texture on there. Now the tips on this rack did dry out a little bit. They do have a little bit of the jerky feel to them because the edges just got a little bit further done than I would have preferred. That's probably because in the middle of my cook, I kept adjusting my smoker. It was only climbing just tiny increments, 220, 225, 230. Finally, I cranked that sucker open to about 1/3 on the intake valve, and it ran up to 300 on me, which is fine, but it did that for about an hour in between my visits, and that was probably just a little too much for the tips of these ribs. All right, let's try some Heath Riles rib tips from that set, and then we'll be all done. That rack didn't dry out. Wow. I think since that middle rack was closer to my heat source and I don't run with water, I do have I did order the heat deflector plate, so I do have that. That helps. But I think just having that just, 6-8 inches closer to the heat source probably made the difference on those. But these Heath Riles racks, wow. The rib tips on these are perfect. Juicy, amazing, delicious. Again, that first one came off in a huge slab like this, and you can see the texture on that is just gorgeous. Beautiful rub, beautiful bark. Y'all, it's been a good rib cook. This is my first set of ribs on the new smoker. Go check out some of my older rib videos from when I had my Lone Star Grill's offset smoker, and from when I've done them on the Weber Smoky Mountain. But today, for the first time on an insulated vertical cabinet, again, Texas style, wow. Don't get me wrong, Heath Riles makes great rubs, and right now, as a product line, across the board, it's my favorite rubs taken all together. I still have some individual rubs from other companies that I really like. But across the board, if I'm gonna buy a whole set of rubs from one company, the Heath Riles ones, as far as I have experienced, head to toe, across the whole lineup are great. But having said that, you have to try the salt and pepper. I'm definitely going to try it now on a brisket because this is so good on ribs. I still don't know if I can bring myself to do it on a pork butt because I just like that saucy, sweet pork butt style, but we'll see. Hey, join me next time on Texas 2.5. We'll get out here and cook again on the Lone Star Grills Mini. It'll be full-on winter in Minnesota by the time we make that video, so you'll get to see how this baby performs in very much sub-freezing temperatures, probably with some snow on the ground. But that 2,000 degree insulation, I have no doubt, is going to hold up and we'll have a great cook. So see you next time right here at Texas 2.5 Barbecue. And happy Thanksgiving, y'all. It's 2020. It's been a tough year. Hey, celebrate, enjoy your family, get together for Thanksgiving. Have a great one. We'll see you next time, Texas 2.5.